Welcome back to Some Offense Intended. I'm Jeremy Robinson,
I am Mike Mick,
and we have some Basil Hayden today.
and we would like you to go ahead and like and subscribe and
Yeah.
share our video.
Yeah, like, subscribe, share, follow, tell people about stuff. Facebook and Instagram at Some Offense Intended, Twitter and TikTok at Some Offense Pod, and YouTube. Just search Some Offense Intended.
Yeah, you'll find it. If you don't see us, then it might be somebody else.
Yeah, there is another podcast actually that has a Mike and a Jeremy.
Yeah.
It's called Mike and Jeremy Steal Your Podcast. And we were originally going to talk to him about doing an episode together. And I completely forgot about it multiple times.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if they're still doing a podcast.
Neither do I. I'd mentioned something to you about it one day, but yeah, like you said, you hadn't seen anything about him in a while.
Yeah, so I don't know. A friend of mine got me this because I'm working on his car, and he's like, I know you like bourbon, so have some of this. So I did a shot with him. Well, had a little, like, on the rocks, and it is very fucking good.
Yes.
The roommate seen I had it and was like, oh, I've never had that before. I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay.
And he's like, oh yeah,
you can go to
he's
Lee's.
He's like, bourbon, huh? He's like, I've never had that before. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have some on the podcast with Mike. And they just kept typing and doing whatever. I'm like, so it was only twice this time that I had to fucking. That's pretty even on accident.
But did you tell him that you'll go ahead and put Lee's discount into his GPS and he can go get some?
No, I'm sure it'll be Total Wine. He used to work at Total Wine for a little bit, so
I actually like Total Wine better.
It's far
from here. Total Wine is, yeah.
There's only fucking one. There's like 18 in Vegas.
I know. And I've been to a few locations. I like all of them.
40 of them in Phoenix.
That's why I said Lee's, because Lee's is closer to here than Total Wine is.
But they don't have a very good selection. Like the Lee's in Vegas have a really good selection of everything.
Yeah. So depending on the location, some have better than others.
The ones here, or at least I think I've been to 2 Lee's here, and they're both not great.
Yeah.
Like they just feel empty and like somebody forgot to order stuff.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it is very unfortunate.
Cheers.
It smells good.
It's really fucking good. That's probably why. Definitely one of the top few that I've had.
That's a good bourbon.
Very nice.
I recommend it to the listeners.
Yeah. Got a nice metal strap around it. Looks dope as fuck.
I do like that. The bottle is very cool.
And a little splash. So I forgot I had a note yesterday that I didn't read.
I forgot a note I had yesterday too, but it's not that important.
So
mine's an old one.
Canada has been doing a lot of weird stuff recently. Like most of the time it's been like violating people's rights and other like just concerning things.
Yeah.
This one is depending on how you look at it and who you are, like either crossing the line or like, oh, that's nice. So it's an up to you kind of thing. Go back on, please. Jesus Christ. That's what I get for taking that off.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh, we don't know how to solve the homeless problem. We don't know how to this. We don't know how to that. We don't know how to help because some people want to stay homeless. Like even if you like start building stuff or like that's what they started doing in some places, like tiny homes and like here's a house and let them stay in it for like between 1 and 6 months to help them get back on their feet and like blah, blah, blah. Place to live, shower, sleep, everything, whatever. Well, Canada decided they should do assisted suicide for homeless people.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wow.
Yeah. So Canada's, I didn't see that one coming, did you?
I did not see that coming. They're progressive, apparently. They want to solve the problem permanent.
Yeah. So I'll pull up an article. But yeah.
Because if you give somebody a place to stay for 6 months, in 6 months they're on the street again.
Yes. Well, I mean, maybe.
Possibly. I'm just saying the potential is there to be back on the street again. According to some articles I've read, Reno has made strides in doing things about homeless and housing and whatever.
Okay, so here's the results of a poll from May of last year. 1/3, 33% of Canadians are apparently fine with prescribing assisting suicide for no other reason than the fact that the patient is poor or homeless.
Wow.
So if it became a thing, because I saw several articles like a couple weeks ago or like last week that okay, so they do like medical assisted death is what they call it.
Yeah.
In multiple occasions. But more than a quarter of Canadians.
If only Kevorkian would have lived to see this.
Blah 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 blah. October. Okay, so it was originally a poll like a year ago.
Yeah.
And they're trying to push it now. Therefore, people with disabilities are requesting euthanasia based on poverty, homelessness, or an inability to receive needed medical treatment. But they're approved for euthanasia based on their disability. So they have assisted euthanasia based on... Let me see if I can find the fucking list. Blah, blah, blah. Suffering, tired, can underestimate.
If you told me Apple came out with a dipod that they're going to start using, I'm going to say Simpsons predicted it, because they had an episode where Abe was going to do a assisted suicide, and they hooked him up to a dipod instead of an iPod.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Didn't Futurama do something like that too?
They have the suicide booth.
Oh, okay. So to be eligible for medical assistance in dying, you must meet all the following criteria. You must be eligible for health services funded by a province or territory or the federal government. Be at least 18 years old and mentally competent. Have a grievous and irremediable medical condition. Make a voluntary request for medical assistance in dying. Cannot be the result of outside pressure or influence. I have questions about that one. Give informed consent to receive medical assistance in dying. Generally, visitors to Canada are not eligible. I like that. That's its own fucking thing. It's like
I was gonna, because one of the other ones said that they had to be in the province, and
yeah,
I'm thinking, people could be traveling there just to off themselves.
To be considered as having a grievous and irremediable medical condition. Okay, yeah, I did press that right. I lost where I was on the phone for a second.
So if somebody tries to talk you into it, though, you're not allowed.
Yeah. But that's so. After I read this, I have questions about that. You must meet all the following of criteria to be considered as having a grievous or irremediable medical condition. Have a serious illness, disease, or disability. I like how they don't describe any of those.
Yeah.
Cancer is now considered a disability, a protected class. Like if it's in remission or in like if it's under control or whatever, that's a
phobia
disability
is a disability also.
But
I don't know about serious, them. I don't know if it's not serious.
But also, this says serious illness, disease or disability. So is it only a serious illness, or is it a serious illness, serious disease, or serious disability? Because it doesn't apply it to all of them, but it might supposed to.
You might not have to have all of them, though. I don't know.
Yeah. So be in an advanced state of decline that cannot be reversed. Experience unbearable physical or mental suffering from your illness, disease, disability, or state of decline that cannot be relieved under conditions that you consider acceptable. That is broad.
That is,
that you consider acceptable.
Yeah, that's a huge range you could fit in there.
Says you do not need to have a fatal or terminal condition to be eligible for medical assistance in dying. If your only medical condition is a mental illness, you are not eligible for medical assistance in dying until March 17th of 2024.
What?
Wow. So
that's not long.
Coming soon.
Yeah, but what if you have a mental thing that can't be fixed, can't be turned around? You're just...
That's if your only medical condition is a mental illness, you are not eligible for medical assistance in dying until March 17th, 2024. So if you have a mental illness and you're like, okay, I just want it to, like, I want help with this.
But March is bad for me. I like March Madness.
Then wait till April.
Okay.
If you have a mental illness along with other medical conditions, you may be eligible. Eligibility is always assessed on an individual basis and takes all relevant circumstances into account. However, you must meet all criteria to be eligible.
But March Madness starts the week of St. Patrick's Day.
The role of provinces and territories, procedural safeguards, blah, blah, blah. So my thing, like the no peer pressure, whatever the fuck that they did. There's a whole like list of stuff that like goes through all the how many consent you have to do, and like it has to be in front of a certain amount of people. They have like second opinions, third opinions. Like make sure document very well. This is exactly what you want. So like it's not a quick like go in, sign a piece of paper, and then like jump off a bridge. That's not how it is.
Oh well, I just assumed that they would be using the suicide machine that Dr. Kevorkian came out with years ago.
That sounds familiar, but I don't.
He was. They called him Dr. Death because he was
recognize the name,
and he had they actually had a large trial for him, for assisted suicide.
Huh.
I think it was in Michigan.
Yeah. So the questions I was going to have about
everybody's doing it.
Let me scroll back to the top. Well, that doesn't help because it started in the middle. Okay, there it is. The request cannot be the result of outside pressure or influence. So, you know, the joke of like somebody standing on a bridge, somebody else like, do a flip. So if you're on your way to assisted suicide and someone goes, hey, do a flip, does that mean there's outside pressure and influence?
You have to turn around and go back and be like,
ah, shit.
Get out of the car. You're like, fuck you. I was about to go kill myself. Now I can't. Thanks a lot, asshole.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
I want to know who these people are who have these friends who are, you know what?
That's a thing.
You should probably just cash in your chips. Yeah. I mean, who does that?
Have you met people? There's a lot of shitty people in the world.
Oh, I know, but
a lot.
I've never told somebody they should off themselves. Maybe I'm missing out.
I don't think you are.
All right. I just want to make sure.
I don't know that like, even if you tell somebody to do it and then they do it, how do you feel?
Probably not good.
There you go. For a while.
Yeah.
Or the rest of your life.
Or I could be like, why'd they have to do it themselves? I could have done it for them.
Wow. Do you want to go apply for medical assistance?
I just saw something about somebody who, I guess he died at the age of 80 in 1999. And his job at one point, while he was in the Army, was to hang U.S. soldiers for whatever, they were being hung for during World War II.
Okay. I was waiting for like either a time, a reason, something. Okay.
World War II.
So,
and apparently though,
for deserting, or for treason.
Yeah. I was gonna say. So, but then after the war was over,
I'm a little more on board with this story now.
They didn't have anybody for him to hang for a little while, but then they had the Nuremberg trials, and so he was hanging these war criminals. But apparently,
they get him all revved back up again. He's like, oh, I've been tying ropes for fucking years.
But the thing is there was a problem with this guy because he was doing it wrong.
How do you, what?
Like he would tie the rope wrong. He would make the people wouldn't drop far enough that it would break their neck, so they'd be hanging there, choking for a long time.
I mean, maybe that was a thing. There's people that are.
He for him it was a thing, but he wasn't supposed to.
That's my point.
But he did like 80 people during that.
Yeah, that's
between 60 and 80. I can't remember.
That's my point. Maybe he had a thing for that.
Yeah, he also lied to be able to become the hangman. He's like, "Oh yeah, I did it in Texas and Oklahoma," and the thing was like, "Yeah, if he was doing it in Texas, he would have had to do it at the age of 12 because they stopped doing hangings in Texas. The last time they did it, he was 12. But then again, they might have stopped doing it state-wise, but he might have been doing it on his own.
They stopped doing official.
But yeah, like
he didn't say if it was people either. If he did it on purpose to watch them squirm, maybe he was one of those people that like torture animals when he was little.
But I guess like at one point, this guy was in the Navy before he did this, and he got a dishonorable discharge. Apparently, he didn't like it, so he just went home.
What?
Yeah, he's like, I'm done. So he left the Navy, and he got, he was AWOL, so he had a court martial and all that. And then years later, during the World War II, he was able to go to the Army.
Never.
I don't even know why. I thought.
I have questions, but there's no answers.
Yeah, I have no answers.
It's because of the draft. That's why they accepted him again.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Which is the same thing as like, so before I came up to Reno, I tried to enlist.
Yeah.
And got a really good score on the ASVAB.
I figured.
And I was mildly surprised because it's been a long time since I've been to school.
Yeah.
Before I took it. And I told the recruiters the fucking day one. Walked in, hey, what's up? I have 2 DUIs.
Yeah.
So I have 2. Is that going to be an issue? No, it depends on me. Take the ASVAB. And they're like, it was funny as shit. So apparently it was concerning to them how fast I took the test.
Cheater.
Not in that way. They were concerned for other reasons. So they have a minivan because it was the recruiting station at Boulevard Mall in Vegas.
All right.
And go there, talk with them. They're like, do you want to do the practice? I'm like, sure. I click through the practice. And they're like, that's quick. Like, that's okay. Well, like, do it again. Just as many times as you want. And we'll blah, blah, blah. So they schedule one. And I meet them at Boulevard and get in a minivan with them. And they take me over to some college on the, like, by Silverado Ranch, kind of.
Yeah.
And they're drop me off. They're like, okay, like, we're going to head back to the office. Like, give us a call when you're done and we'll come pick you up. Like, okay.
Done.
Close. So I go, fill out my name, do whatever.
Hope you spelled your name right.
I very well did. There's a couple other people that I don't think did.
Yeah.
I go. They're like, okay, that back computer over there. I'm the last one in the room. And I was the first one that was done. Like, click, 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 click. Okay. Like, raise my hand. Like, when you're done, like, stand up and go do whatever. So I stood up and went and talked to them. And they're like, you were okay. Like, print it. Like, go stand in the hallway, whatever. We'll give you your results. So I stand in the hallway. I call the recruiter, and he's like, hey, what's wrong? Nothing's wrong. I'm done. He's like, no, I don't, like, no, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing's wrong. Like, I'm waiting on my results, and they said I could call you already. Why? What do you mean, what's wrong? He goes, I just pulled back into Boulevard. So, like, the drive distance, 12, 15 minutes from that college to the mall is all it took.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay, I'll be there soon. So, like, I go outside to smoke a cigarette and look at the test scores. They're very good.
Yeah.
And this kid comes out and he's like, oh, I don't know how to, like, read the test scores to see if I did okay and, like, this and that. And I'm like
probably didn't do well.
No. I'm like, he's like, can you show me? I'm like, I mean, this is my first time taking it, but I can probably help you a little bit with it. Yeah. He's like, okay. So ASVAB is scored on a scale of like 0 to, I think, like 98 or 99. Right. I got a 94, 92 or 94 or something.
Yeah.
And he got a 17.
Oh, that's probably not.
No. Like, I think the Marines are cut off as like 45.
Yeah.
45 or 50.
And they were probably looking at you at the Air Force going, yeah, we can put this guy behind a desk.
I aced. So on there's a further breakdown of, like, other than the overall, there's like Air Force scores, Army GT scores, like, so you can tell, like, what you would be good at for doing whatever. I aced all of the Air Force except for the admin. I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to be a paper pusher. Army, with the one they care about the most is the Army GT score. I think anything above like 105 or 110, you can pick what you want to do.
Yeah.
I got like a 130, or I don't know what it's out of, but way over what you can, like, what do you want to do? And we'll get that for you. So I'm looking at this kid's test and like trying not to just show utter disappointment in my face of like, oh, wow, I thought you got 20 points for spelling your name.
Yeah.
So that's one of the ones that might have spelled it wrong.
Yeah. I didn't get to 17. Yeah. He did.
So I was like, yeah. I'm like, I honestly don't know. I'm like, talk to the recruiter. They can explain everything way more. This is my first time reading these scores today. Like, today is the first time of me reading these scores, is how I worded it.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay. It's like, I think he knew. He just wanted somebody else to tell him, and it wasn't going to be me.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be the person either.
So recruiter comes back, picks me up. And he's like, hey, so, like, you want to talk about it? I'm like, talk about what? Like, he thought I failed. Like, clicked through it and, like, failed because I did it so quick.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, like, I did great. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. Like, showed him. He's like, holy shit.
I was going to say, I bet he said, holy shit.
He's like, this is one of the highest scores I've seen in a long time. He's like, and you haven't been to school? I'm like, when was it? 2018, I think, is when I took it. I graduated in 2008 and stopped going to school in 2010. So it'd been 8 years since I fucking, like, read a book almost.
Yeah.
Like, I knew it was coming up. So, like, I studied a couple of fractions. That's the only thing I did in preparation. It was like maybe 5 minutes of reading fraction stuff online. That's it.
Maybe they would have you in a silo someplace.
So
lined up to hit a key at the same time as somebody else.
Maybe. But because of the fraction of a second thing, I get it. So go back, tell them. And they're like, okay, this is great. And they're like, so, like, your background check and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, right. So remember I told you at the beginning.
2.
There's 2. And they're like, right. But there might be a chance. I'm like, I told you at the beginning. I have my FBI background check. There are 2 DUIs on it. They're like, why do you have your own FBI background check? So when I had my second DUI, I ordered guns online, and they were delivered to this gun store, which a lot of people don't know that this happens. You buy a gun online, it goes to a store that has a license to sell a gun that's in your area. And then you then go to said store and fill out a background check form. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, there are background checks that are done.
Yeah, I know. Even some people would like to believe that we don't have background checks and that we need to pass a law to do them.
This isn't the 1930s and 40s at a fucking gun show. It's a lot different now. Was it 1944 or 47 when the Brady Bill was passed? That's a different thing.
No, that was in the 80s, and that's gone. That was the 5-day waiting period.
I thought it was an attachment to...
No, okay. Brady was actually there when President Ronald Reagan was shot.
I heard there was a bunch.
And he got hit. Yes, there was a bunch.
Brady bunch?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
But no, he got hit, and he actually survived, but he took a bullet to the head.
And that's why the waiting period?
And that's why, a cooling off period is what they would like to call it.
Oh. So it was after he was brain damaged that he came up with the bill. I get it.
The 5-day waiting period was there for a long time.
So
like when I bought my first Glock, I didn't realize that it had been taken away. So I went in there to buy the gun and everything and do the background check.
That's why I didn't know what it was, because I walked out.
I was ready to walk away and come back, 5 days later. And they're like, oh, here you go. I'm like, oh yeah. They got rid of that, didn't they?
Yeah, I didn't know about that. So what happened was they put my background check on hold. They were like, your license is revoked. I'm like, what? And they wouldn't tell me. They were like, here, like, we have them on the phone. Like, they have to tell you what's going on. We don't know what's going on at the gun store. So talk to them. Okay, this is so-and-so. I'm like, yep, this is Jeremy. Like, okay, your license is not valid. What the fuck do you mean my license is not valid? Like, I'm holding it in my hand. Like, what do you, and they're like, no, like, either the DMV revoked it, suspended it, like, something happened, and we don't know what it is. And without a valid ID, you can't process a background check. Like, okay. So I go, like, roundabout whole thing, find out that the DMV didn't send me a notice to suspend it.
Yeah.
So I had been driving on a suspended license without a notice.
They also do a thing where they cancel a driver's license as well. It's not a suspension, but it's a cancel, and you have to pay an amount. And in the state of Nevada, it's all ran by the DMV. So once you get pulled over,
which is extortion.
would she get pulled over for it? They immediately suspended.
Well, no, right. But this was like 5 or 6 months later after I already got it back. Yeah. So I had already gone through all of that.
So it was probably canceled then.
But I had already gotten it back. I had a brand new shiny fucking piece of shit that the issue date was within the last month.
I had gotten my license suspended at one point and I got it back. And then I was driving and I got pulled over. They're like, your license has been canceled. I'm like, what are you talking about? I got my license back. What are you talking about? It's canceled. They're like, no, it's not suspended. It's canceled.
That's stupid.
And then I talked to, they're like, oh yeah, they said that the DMV tried to send you a letter, certified mail twice, and it couldn't be delivered. So they gave up.
Yeah, that sounds like a them problem.
I'm like,
I'm right here.
How does certified mail not make it? That's the whole purpose of certified mail is that it gets dropped off and you sign. The person signs.
They either sign for it or it gets returned as undeliverable, which is the other point of certified mail.
Yeah, but there was 3 people living at 3 people living at the house.
Yeah, but if they thought that you were getting served a lawsuit, they're not going to sign for it, and they think they're doing you a favor, and it doesn't fucking matter.
But nobody ever heard anything. Nobody saw anybody.
Plausible deniability. Yeah. Anyway, so I finally get that out of the way, and I'm like, okay, go back, start the background check process again, and it gets put on hold. And they're like, you have an open arrest case. I'm like, yeah, it's for a DUI. Like that's not a big deal. It's the second one. So there's no issue. There's nothing. So just give me my guns. And they're like, well, no. Like it's on permanent hold. I'm like, why? And they wouldn't tell me.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're going to have to get the FBI background check and do this and that. And like, so it took a while of like me calling NICS. And finally found a person that was decent and was like, I've helped a couple people do this and that. So like, here's a brochure, here's how to this, here's how to this, of like basically how to send in a request to the FBI for your own fucking background check.
Yeah.
So a copy of the front and back of your ID, like 2 or 3 sets of your fingerprints, and something, I think it's 2,
yeah.
And something else, and like a full like page of why, and then like I think a self-addressed stamped envelope. Like they won't even fucking send you an answer for free.
Yeah,
kind of shit. Like you almost had to give them paper to print an answer out on.
How much blood did you have to give?
So what ended up happening is, because the arrest was still open, because I think that one took like a year and a half for the lawyer to deal with, because the arrest was still open, they put it on hold to pull the arrest report. On the arrest report, because I didn't know to not talk to cops, they ask, in the past 3 months, have you been in the care of a doctor or dentist? Yes, I had. So I said yes. I'm being honest. Then talking to cops.
Yeah, no, that's a bad combination.
And they said, were you prescribed any medications? So I said yes, because I had.
Yeah.
And prescription already fucking ran out. So I think it was like 2 or 2.5 months prior to that DUI. I was in Oklahoma visiting family, and me and my brother-in-law went to had a couple beers at the bar.
Yeah.
And there's a shuffleboard table next to the pool table. So there's dust fucking everywhere, because they also didn't sweep apparently.
Yeah.
So I was getting really comfortable with like run and slide on the dust into like where I'm going to shoot pool. And like, it was dope as fuck, like 4 or 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
Then one of the times, this was the last time I did it, I tried to slide, and there was a lot more dust right there. Slid fucking hard and bashed my ribs into the pool table.
Ouch.
Hard. So bruised or broke my 3 of my ribs.
Yeah. Well, that's you do that, you're not allowed to have a firearm. Sorry.
Yeah. So I sucked it up for a couple of days, and I'm like, it was just too painful. So I go to the doctor. And they're like, well, honestly, like they found out that wrapping ribs doesn't even help. It just makes them hurt all the time instead of only some of the time.
Yeah.
And if it is fractured, wrapping it can actually make it worse, because it'll tighten it up and like make it, the bone pop out and like could puncture a lung.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking was the lung.
So if they're like, it doesn't feel fractured, because they like feel along it and like everything feels fine and like there's no pain in this and that. Like other than like it fucking hurt, but there was no like amount of pain when they touched it. So they prescribed me, I think, oxycodone, which is a Schedule 1. That's a fucking controlled substance.
Mm-hmm.
And because I said yes, I was prescribed that. They prescribed me like a week of it.
Yeah, it's not something they usually have you do for a long time.
No, one, it didn't fucking work. So I stopped taking them forever.
Yeah.
And just didn't even fucking but even if I took them how I was supposed to, it would have been gone for 2.5 months. So they were like, did you have a prescription? Did you this? Did you this? So because the arrest report was still open, they pulled the arrest. It's a DUI.
Yeah.
On a DUI, if there's also narcotics, you are barred from firearms because you are, I forget exactly how the wording is, but it's basically like you're a habitual user of like alcohol with narcotics on an arrest report is like a recreationally you're fucked.
See, I can understand how they say that, but like it didn't show up in your system.
No, exactly.
You were prescribed it at one point.
Yeah, exactly. And so after I found out all of that, I called NICS back and like, okay, so here's the issue. I'm like, and they're like, okay, yes, that's the issue. I'm like, you knew okay. So it was an alcohol DUI. Like, that's it. Like, here's the blood panel. And like, send them that. I'm like, here's the results of that. And then I got my guns. So it took like 1.5 or 2 years for me to get my guns.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's why I had my FBI background check.
Try to get a suppressor. It takes about 1 year to get that.
Unless you live in Texas.
Unless you live in Texas. And it's made in Texas.
Yeah.
Which,
let's move to Texas and start making fucking suppressors.
Yes.
The name of the company could be...
Yes, I love it. I love the name.
How many H's? Does it matter?
It doesn't matter, yeah. I mean, except on the website. We'll have to...
Oh, we can just buy and
I'm just
saying. I don't know
for...
if you could hear it. There was one more H in each of those than the previous.
But I'm just saying for somebody to be able to type it in. Yeah. You don't want them to put too many H's. They might not get it.
That's why you just buy all of them and redirect it to the same one.
Yeah.
I think 3 H's is the appropriate amount. Because that's too short. That's only one. And you're probably going to pay like 20 grand for that fucking website.
Yeah. It's just funny. One of my favorite wrestlers, his name is actually Triple H. But that's a different story. So there is something I did want to mention though. One of the episodes we did, I mentioned something about Steve Buscemi. You know, how good of a guy he is. And I mentioned that he had a TV show on Max that was on HBO before, and I could not think of the name.
Mm-hmm.
It's Boardwalk Empire.
Oh, okay. I've definitely heard of that.
And I'd even said the name. I'd even said Boardwalk, but I didn't say.
Okay.
But I couldn't think of Empire.
So you remember how I said it's going to be expensive?
Yeah.
.com, sh.com, $6.5 million is the seller's asking price.
All right. Should I just get it out of my pocket? Should I?
That's fucking ridiculous.
Write a check? What are we gonna do?
So 2 H's is reserved for a future project. I wonder if he lives in Texas. 3 H's, you can rent and buy it later when you're ready. How does that work?
How do I rent a domain?
Sign in to view Francois' full profile.
French.
I have been a French tech for plus 20 years. I have so many questions. He's been a French tech. So before that, was he just a tech? Is the French part what he achieved? Or was he just a French before that?
He was just a French, I think. Because it says he's from France. So I'm guessing he's always been French.
He's a brilliant entrepreneur.
And his name is Francois.
And domain investor that I've had the pleasure of working with for several projects. He's committed to excellence, and I recommend him. One of the best SEO, SEM players in the industry. I mean, good for him. If he figured out a way to rent domains, that is actually a really big deal.
Good job.
Francois Carrillo. Let's see, 4 H's. And it is for sale.
4-H.
Doesn't say.
That's a farming club.
It doesn't say for how much though, so
probably so I guess we'd have to go with 4 H's, maybe 5.
Now, it also didn't say what the asking price was, so it might just be on like an unclaimed domain. It says it's taken. So, yeah, no. They are selling it, but they don't want to tell how much it is.
They want to see how much the person has first.
Yeah, apparently.
But you can use honey and get a discount.
Oh, for sure. 5H's is also for sale. So somebody just went and bought all the fucking domains. That's crazy. Have you looked up how expensive, I can't even talk, how expensive 4-letter domains are?
No.
Like any 4-letter domain is a not okay amount of money.
Well, we saw one, wasn't it? What was the first one you typed in?
Yeah,
was it
$6.5 million?
Yeah. So that seems like a not okay amount of money. Because you'd have to be pulling in a lot of money to.
So, perfect example. I go to sedo.com, SEDO, buy, park, and sell domains. And on the front page, there's a big banner that says 4-letter auction. Apply now, January 18th to the 25th. Because it's like tex.com, $5 million asking price. Like this majh.com. What does that mean? 14 grand. It's not even a fucking thing.
I know.
Like it's just 4 letters for no reason.
We just need to start coming up with some.
Etaxi.com, 900 grand.
I'm going to make an offer for snake.com.
At $5. Screw.com, make offer. Scopes.com, which is 5, but they want 50 grand. But yeah, so like there's a massive amount of 4-letter. Burns.com, that's make an offer.
Mr. Burns.
Yeah, there's so many 4-letter domains that people just like go like search, and then just try to sell them. It doesn't matter at all. Domain length 1 to 4.com only. So emis.com, 250 grand. Some of these are 3. env.com, $1 million. xau.com, $3 million. Like these are fucking wild.
But do they sell?
Oh, I'm sure. Like maybe not these because they're still for sale, but there are way more than this all the time.
There was a story I'd seen where somehow the Cowboys let cowboys.com go and some guy had it and Jerry Jones was trying to get it from him.
That's just like that guy that got Google before they fucking renewed it. He sniped Google out from under him, so they paid him $60,000. The numbers spelled out Google.
Yeah.
So it was like $60,000, $61.43 or some shit.
But numbers can't spell things.
No, but it looked like if you didn't know what things were.
Yeah.
So it was 60,600 or 6. Oh, words are fucking hard.
I said that yesterday.
That's not a word either. I can't even type.
I said words are hard when I kept saying the wrong word.
Yeah.
Google.
So it was like $60,061.30.
They got to be adding some zeros to that.
Yeah, they added 1 0 because he was asking like $1 million for it. I think he should have held out.
I think so too.
Yeah. This was a while ago.
Google can afford it
now. I mean, it wasn't like super early to where they couldn't have afforded it. They definitely still could have, but it was, I think, like 5 or 6 years ago, 8 years ago. So they were still massive, but they weren't what they are now.
Oh, yeah. They're doing all right for themselves.
Yeah, a little bit.
I like the smell.
It smells really good. You can definitely smell the barrel.
I did. I was watching a little bit of pro wrestling today. And The Rock was on TV last week. He was back. He's an actor now. He doesn't wrestle as much as he used to.
Yeah.
But one of the things I like about The Rock is the way he controls the audience. Like they were doing, their episode was called Day One because it was the first episode of the new year. I think it might have even been on New Year's Day. And he was in the room. He was in the ring with somebody. He said to him, "You are a day one douchebag." And of course, the audience starts chanting "day one douchebag." And then at one point, he's like, "All right, you want unity?" Because the guy was talking about how there's no unity in our country. He said, "Watch this." And he's like, "This side, you guys say day one. This side, you guys say douchebag." And they started doing it. He would be like this. He'd point and he'd go. And then they just kept going. And then he wanted to pick up the mic and keep talking. And they just kept doing day one douchebag. It was great.
That's amazing.
And you could see this wrestler in the ring that they're yelling at. He's just,
Jesus
like,
Christ.
what can he do?
Nothing. Yeah. Wait. So the back of this is James Beam Distilling. Is that the same as Jim Beam?
Yep.
Okay. So James B. Beam is the one that bottled this. But it also says on the side that has notes. It says sweet brown sugar, black pepper, and charred oak.
Oh, black pepper.
With a finish of dried fruit.
Yeah.
Which I think that's the
first. Is that your taste notes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because it has the notes saying on the side.
Yeah, but I figured that was about the taste, taste profile.
I don't think I've ever seen that on a bottle before. Like I've seen it sometimes like on the website, but never like on the bottle itself.
I've seen it for like taste profiles for like wines and things. But usually when it's a taste profile for wine, they want you to taste it yourself. And there's not really a wrong answer. Yeah. It's what you taste.
I'm getting a full body dirt.
No, they would say Terra.
And it's a very earthy. Yes.
I'm getting hints of currant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vanilla. Things like that. Yeah. But they also say, like, some people smell it and go, like, I don't smell these things you're smelling. But
it's because you don't have an imagination.
Well, it's because, I mean, how often do you really smell the different things? I mean, you have a knack for knowing what things smell like when they smell like things that they probably shouldn't. But like,
I feel like we have to explain what you mean by that.
Well, we will in a second. But like, I was in a wine class. They were teaching us all about taste. He's like, one of the things you do is like when you're shopping, sometime you're looking at different fruit, pick it up and smell it. See what it is. See how it goes. See, then you know what it really smells like instead of what you think it smells like.
I'm pretty sure I know what orange smells like.
Yeah, well.
Pretty sure I also know what an apple smells like.
Well, different grapes and things like that. Different types of fruits. It gives you more of a... So then when you're smelling it, you can recognize it in the wine, is what the whole goal is.
I can get that a decent bit.
But...
especially for most people.
Like when I'm drinking a Cabernet or a Pinot Noir or a red Zinfandel, I'm not smelling orange.
Speaking of that, I was talking with Nate today and came up with a mild little stand-up bit about Pinot Noir.
Well, Pinot Noir is a good wine. It's a good varietal.
But I was thinking, like, how many backcountry hicks that are like have a nut allergy?
Pinot Noir.
One of them Pinot Noirs. I can't have that. I'm allergic to nuts.
I'm a fan.
That Pinot Noir. I can't breathe if I have that. I don't got my EpiPen.
Well, you're missing out.
Pinot Noir.
The funny thing is, I specifically said red Zinfandel.
Yeah.
But that's actually the traditional Zinfandel. But if you just say Zinfandel, everybody's going to think you're saying white Zinfandel. Yeah. And that's trash.
Because
so I
white
don't want
is the cheaper one. That's why everybody thinks that, because white Zinfandel.
Well, plus it's easier to drink. It's like a beginner level wine.
Yeah.
Like, because it's a little sweeter.
It's basically fruit juice.
Yeah. And they it was actually a mistake when they made it. The first time they did it, no, seriously, because like what makes the wine darker is they have all the grape, the skins, everything in there, and that's what gives it the tannins and the darkness.
The biff tannins?
Yes.
Okay.
But so they pulled it out early, and then they had this pink stuff, and they're like, well, what the fuck are we going to do with this? We can't sell this.
Put it back in.
Well, I thought that too, but that doesn't work. So they bottled it up and they gave it, which I think is funny. They're like, this is shit. We can't use it. We can't sell it. So they bottled it up and gave it to their friends for Christmas presents.
That's hilarious. Hey, this is fucking awful. Try this.
We fucked this shit up. Here you go. Merry Christmas.
That's amazing.
But people loved it. So they're like, oh, wait, that's actually good?
Yeah, and it's way cheaper to make.
I mean, imagine if I gave you a present, you're like, oh, I like that. And I'm like, oh, it's actually good.
Yeah.
It seems like I'm not putting a lot of thought into it.
That's hilarious.
But they gave it out to them and they loved it. And then they're like, oh, shit, we better start bottling this and selling it. So now all the all the different wineries have it.
Quite simple though.
Huh. Yeah, and it's very popular, but I don't like it. I like a fuller bodied, heavier red wine over.
So I'll tell you a trick real quick. So if you pour it to here,
yeah,
and then pour a little more, it'll be heavier.
Yeah.
Follow me for more tips.
Yeah. But the wine heaviness is a little bit of a different thing.
Are you telling me more liquid doesn't weigh more with wine?
No, I'm telling you, the description of being heavy is different than the actual weight of the wine. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Full bodied is what I usually go with. Okay. That's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
And if you pair wine with the right food, it can change your entire dining experience.
I'm sure it can.
For the positive.
Yeah.
And it'll also do it for the negative.
One of them smelliers.
I actually looked into going into being a sommelier.
They make a lot of fucking money.
I wanted to go to training for that.
A lot of money. That's actually one of the things that I've thought about doing because it gets into like the flavor thing, the flavor and smell, and because I would really
wine
like
with food because I like food and I like wine. So
yeah, like I would really like to get into the flavor and smell industry business somehow. I don't fucking know how, other than
Fairfield, California, Jelly Belly.
Unless I get fuck them. Actually, that would be a really good fucking spot to start because I could
fuck them because you could give me Jelly Bellies.
Well, and most of the shit that they say it tastes like, it does not.
Buttered popcorn tastes like buttered popcorn.
It might be the only one that tastes exactly.
A lot of them taste exactly.
They don't.
Tutti Frutti?
Oh, it tastes just like a Tutti Frutti.
Yeah.
What the fuck is a Tutti Frutti, Mike?
I don't know. I just really like those, so that's why I said that one. Oh, I just like the wild cherry.
Super accurate.
I've had ones that taste like what they say.
Yeah, so the smell thing that Mike was talking about is there's often like smells and tastes have a weird like memory thing with me of like I'll smell something and be like, oh, it smells exactly like, and paint a picture of either something or like an entire memory of it and describe it of like, here's this smell, and then like paint a scene with words of what describes that smell. And I love doing it with Paul because he's like, I don't know how the fuck, like just the look of astonishment every time is fucking amazing.
That's like a wet dog.
And so one of the best times is there was a very unpleasant smell coming off of a
person,
a bucket of water that had batteries in it. We'll go with that. So
I know that smell.
Yeah. So I caught a way too strong whiff of it, and I'm like, oh, this is gross. So I call Paul, and I'm like, hey, when you get a chance, come here. So he comes over, and I'm like, okay. So you're in college, right? And you have a bunch of fucking fat-ass parties. It's the morning after a party. You wake up, you come downstairs. There's way too many people that were in the house last night. And it smells like shame, desperation, Southern Comfort, UV, and a slight stench of cigarettes. And like opened it and like wafted some to him. And he's like, oh my God, that is fucking horribly accurate. He's like, that's like, you could smell the SoCo and the UV just like hitting the back of your throat. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, and the vomit because of the spiciness of the battery mixing with the water. Like that is fucking horrible.
See, I worked with somebody, and he walked over to one of those battery things and he opened it up. Well, first he's like, what let me take a look inside this. I'm like, no, don't open it. Just leave it the way it is. He's like, no, I'm going to open it. So he opens it.
Is it Jimmy?
No.
Okay, good.
No. And the smell just would not go. This was on the third floor. Like we had to work near this and smell this.
That's fucking awful.
For a long time. And I'm like, see what you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like stuff like that of like a weird. It should have nothing to do with any smell other than what it physically is.
See, but they could have you on the Bean Boozled line, and you could tell them what all these different things should be.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, like that. Like I said, that might actually be a really good. Well, that or Lay's, because I know Lay's is always like, "Oh, we need better chip flavors," and they don't know what flavor is.
I recommended a couple flavors to them.
Oh, we need like here's a steak and ketchup flavor. I'm like, that's not okay.
No.
Like one, the steak chips didn't taste anything like steak. Ketchup, they just added more salt. Like that's none of this tastes like what you think it does.
No. I've had a couple of them. Like, they had a garlic parmesan bread type.
As much as I like chips, sometimes I can't eat chips all the time anymore. Like I don't think it was me that changed. I think they changed the recipe of the chips that I can't have more than like 4 or 5 at a time before it builds up this like weird like flavor layer that blocks everything. And it's just be glad they don't have
Olestra anymore.
A what?
Olestra. They were cooking the chips in Olestra to lower cholesterol, and it was giving people just bad diarrhea.
Oh, well, yeah. Maybe that's when I could eat chips all the time.
Were you very regular?
No, normally I take like one shit a day, if that.
That's regular.
I don't know. A lot of people look at me and they're like, "You only shit once a day." And I'm like, "Well, how many times do you?" And they're like, 2 or 3. And I'm like, you should go to a doctor.
Yeah.
And they're like, "No, that's normal." I'm like, "I don't think so." Like every other day.
There are different opinions on it, but the thing is that you're regularly, daily going, so that's regular.
I mean, regular for who?
For you. You're regular.
If I regularly shit once a week, is that regular?
No, that is irregular.
Okay, see, then it
but
doesn't.
Once a day is regular. You. But
like for a long time,
some people say that you should go to the bathroom after every meal.
For a long time, fuck them.
No,
for a long time it was I would shit every other day.
Yeah,
and it would be horrible.
But you would wait until you have to go.
Oh yeah.
Some people, I think, they go and they try
so fucking bad.
They try
to push their intestines out.
Yeah.
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 Like it's one of those slippery fucking soap things. They're just trying to.
But I've heard them
trying to sloop right out.
I've heard them in like the stall next to me.
Yeah.
I just want to like stick a broomstick in there. They can put it in their mouth and bite on it.
Well, I think it's also a lot of that is like, oh, I really like spicy food. And then they bitch about it the entire day, nonstop. Oh, that just really doesn't feel good. But I really like spicy food. I'm like, it sounds like you don't.
Yeah.
Like, because sometimes spicy food tastes good, but all the time it doesn't feel good.
I don't want to throw any particular Mexican restaurants under the bus.
Taco Bell.
No, it's a different one, but that one falls into this too. People often talk about how they like to eat there. They're like, yeah, but I don't like what it does to me. It makes me have to shit so much. And I'm like, well, why would you want to eat that if it does that? I don't understand. It's not that fucking good.
No.
I've had it.
But that's the thing of like, oh, I love spice and like it's so fucking amazing. I'm like, and then they sit there like half the time, like if it's too spicy and they're just like barely fucking breathing while they're trying to choke it down, and then they do nothing but bitch for the next 3 days because their asshole's on fire.
Well,
like,
they'd rather
part of this is enjoyable.
They'd rather suffer and be like, oh yeah, I can take it. I like spicy.
But that's
than to just be like me. I just don't like spicy, so I don't eat it.
But most of the time, it's not even trying to be like a flex of like, oh, I can take spicy. It's oh, I like it so much. Like that's. Are you trying to convince yourself? That's what it is.
I'm just saying, if it's a flex, then you're not supposed to be crying when you're doing it. But I'm talking about like I go into the restroom and somebody's at a stall or 2 over, and you hear like they're giving birth in there. It's like crowding. It's crowding.
It sounds like the fish on. You remember the game Insanaquarium? I'm surprised I remember the fucking name of that.
I don't know that one.
It was when Bejeweled first came out. You could play the games online on like AOL.com.
Oh, I never played them.
Like not the disc version. It was after that, but you have a fish bowl and like you buy fish and like feed the fish and like drop food in the tank and then like upgrade the fish and like buy different shit and like just the whole thing based around like a fish tank. And you get certain amount of money per fish, per hour, per minute kind of shit of whatever. But if you didn't feed the fish fast enough, at a certain point, it became very hard. The fish would die and just like, and then like flip over and raise to the top.
After a while, you kind of just want that. Sounds like. But one thing I missed the AOL and the CompuServe discs because I mean you buy a magazine, they just fall out. Yeah, it's free coasters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no need for me to have as many as I would end up with.
Well, that's the trick for free coasters now, right?
No.
You go to Home Depot or Lowe's into the like hardwood flooring section.
Yeah.
Below the shelf, they have the samples of them that are squares that are perfectly fucking square.
Nice.
So you can have a different flavor of each as a coaster.
Well, I mean, if you had...
And then just put felt on the bottom of that and it won't slip around and you're fucking solid.
But if you had all the different types of online services, you could have, mix and match. You could have shiny side up, AOL side up.
Yeah.
There's some people who are hearing this who have no idea what we're talking about.
At all.
Yeah.
At all.
No idea.
So, Brandon, AOL stood for America Online.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you used to get internet by mail. That is not a joke. They would send you a disc, and it would have 100 free hours of internet.
And you had to pay by hour.
And when you put the disc in to your computer, you had to wait between 3 and 10 minutes for it to connect to get probably, I would say 1 to 10 kilobytes of download speed.
Oh, so slow.
Per second.
If you wanted
sometimes per minute, depending on like the beginning of Earthlink of when DSL happened. DSL was slower than fucking dial-up for a long time.
But like if you were trying, well, that depended on how close you were to the place.
Oh.
But if you actually had, like, if you were trying to download Playboy pictures or whatever, you were waiting a while. You were leaving your computer and coming back, making sure to turn off your screensaver so it didn't interrupt your connection.
Yeah, or hoping somebody didn't pick up the phone.
Yeah, I hope somebody didn't pick it. It's like you're almost, oh, fuck, I almost had it.
Yeah.
Then you have to start all over again. But I did see something that were talking about dial-up. They're like, these things we didn't have in the 90s. And it's like, the things that we had in the 90s, we had to do in the 90s. But cable modems actually started in the 90s.
Yeah, maybe like 98, 99.
97.
Oh, okay. So, a year off.
But still.
Whoa.
But still, it existed in the 90s.
Yeah.
It was the end of the 90s, but either way. But yeah, dial-up sucked.
Yes, it did.
That noise.
Actually, I missed the noise.
Yeah. Actually, I thought, you know what? If I had an electric car, maybe I should have a car do that instead of
when it starts.
noises.
That'd be fucking dope. That'd be great.
Yeah, it would be. I wouldn't want it to go the whole drive.
I might see if I can find that and put that as an alarm to wake up to in the morning. See how that works for a couple days.
Ever watch Robot Chicken?
Yeah.
At the end of the show when they have the bok, 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 bok.
Yeah.
That was my ringtone for a while.
That's annoying as fuck.
Yes. Made people want to answer it. You've heard my current ring phone. my current ringtone.
Ring phone, huh? That is what rings. Congratulations.
You've heard it because I accidentally set it off one day with my.
Is it the Pika Pika?
No. It's the watch. I do have that for text.
Oh, okay.
But no, it's the ring. The actual ringer is it's the slasher movie sounds.
Oh yeah.
Because I like horror movies.
It's still been a really long time since I've seen like a horror movie.
Oh, I probably watched one last week. No, I love them. I think they're great.
I can't think of the last one I watched. It's like also like the Awful Santa or whatever the fuck, the Killer Santa one that we watched.
Yeah.
What Nightmare? What was that called?
Well, there's been a few.
It was the one where like Santa was going to give up, and then he ends up saving like those two.
Yeah, but that one wasn't so much a horror movie as an action movie. That was a thriller. Yeah, that was.
They kind of tried to paint it as a horror originally.
Yeah, but
it definitely isn't.
It was almost a Die Hard with Santa.
Yeah,
to be honest,
it was enjoyable as fuck.
I liked it. Yeah, I liked it.
It was very enjoyable.
I'm trying to remember what
terribly fucking hate it.
Oh, that sucks.
Like, no. I was surprised.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, this movie is so fucking bad, it's actually enjoyable. Like, what?
But that doesn't make any sense.
I think it had like an 8 on Rotten Tomatoes, like a 15. That's out of 100.
I'm saying if it's so bad that you enjoyed it, then good, you enjoyed it. All right.
But I think the last time I looked, it was like a 5-ish on IMDb.
So what are they going to do? I mean, they're still going to come out with the second one. They probably already made it.
Yeah, they probably already made it because it's dropping in April.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they might wait till after the second one to see if they're going to make the third one. That might be what they do.
Yeah.
I thought it was really fucking good. Like, it definitely didn't go as in depth as they could have with like character development, but
yeah.
Especially like they're making 2 within a year.
That kind of surprised me.
Let them fucking be, bro. Like if we can get movies starting to be made like this, let that fucking happen.
Yeah.
Because then good movies will be made like that too.
Well, let's preface this. Like, Disney can probably slow down on Marvel movies, though. I mean, it'd be nice to get like 2 Avengers movies in a year, but let's not do all these.
Yeah, let's not do the Marvel fucking super woke, the Marvel woke, the Marvel woke up, the Marvel weak woke. Let's stop doing all that dumb shit.
Let's stop changing characters. If you want to make a new character, go ahead.
Make a new character. Yeah.
Do it.
Stop. Yeah.
Don't ruin a current character.
Well, and there's a lot of, I get wanting to do it right. How many times has the Hulk been remade?
See, that's the thing is, I like the Hulk movies.
Right. But stop. Because like the ones with, what's his face? Where the Hulk was like way too big and like he chucked the Abrams A1 tank.
I like that. Because that Hulk is usually really big. Like if you see the comic book, I used to read the comic book. The Hulk would get bigger and stronger as he got more angry.
Oh.
See.
But like there was a point to where like it got kind of dumb.
Eric Bana played him in the first one. And then it was Ed Norton.
Norton, that's who. Yeah. Like I think Mark Ruffalo does a really
a great job. Yeah.
Really fucking good.
I was very impressed by how he does. I like him too.
We should continue this next time.
But I'm just saying, I enjoyed the movies. I like the Hulk. There's a lot more to the Hulk. I mean,
I think they should stop remaking Batman too.
Well, it's not really a remake, but I mean, they're
constantly remaking Batman.
I think
every time they have a new fucking actor, they're remaking shit.
I think they killed the franchise with this last one, though.
Good.
I mean, I'd like a good one.
They could bring Michael Keaton back.
They did.
As Batman.
As Batman.
What do you mean they brought him back?
You didn't see The Flash?
Which one? The series?
No, the movie. The movie that came out this last year.
No.
Yeah. Michael Keaton's in it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they should give him another fucking franchise. Because Michael Keaton was an enjoyable Batman.
Yeah, but I mean, I want to see something. I mean, I liked what's his face. I thought he did a good job.
Robert Pattinson.
No, I haven't even seen that one.
Me either.
I've heard it's just so long. It's so slow.
You like Ben Affleck?
Ben Affleck wasn't bad.
I haven't seen that one.
I didn't think he was gonna be good, but he was good.
Have I seen it?
His Batman suit, I liked. I liked how he did the voice. I liked, but I have nothing against Ben Affleck. A lot of people don't like him.
I don't have an issue with him. I just don't see him as a superhero.
Probably
then again, Batman's not a superhero; he's a hero.
I'm going to wrap up what I have to say, but probably my favorite thing of Ben Affleck's is probably, besides Good Will Hunting, would be The Town.
That was also good.
I watch The Town every so often. I'll just be looking for something to watch, and I'll see The Town. I'm like, oh, I'm watching this.
It's been a long time since I've seen it. I think I've only seen it once.
It's only been a couple months for me.
Huh. Yeah, we'll talk more, or if we remember. Like, share, subscribe. Again, it's Facebook and Instagram at Some Offense Intended, Twitter and TikTok, Some Offense Pod, YouTube. Just type the word Some Offense Intended in the big search bar up in the top middle and hit that enter button. Or follow, subscribe, notification stuff on your favorite podcast platform.
Yes, please.
And tell people about us. Okay, bye.